Hi there.
Oh, there we go. How you
I
doing?
know that you're playing with Lou Gramm Band right now. Is that correct?
No, no, I was with the Lou Gramm Band from '04 until 2015, I think it was.
Okay.
And we recorded that Lou Gramm Band album. It was his passion to do a Christian rock record. And of course, all the people that he's up here with, basically frowned upon that because it wouldn't make him enough money and blah, blah, blah. So it was the band at the time was his two brothers, Benny and Richard, and I, keyboard player Andy Knoll, and we basically said, "Hell with it! You want to do it? We should do it. Maybe this will get you excited about being, because at that point, he had just come back from his surgery from the brain tumor, and he wasn't doing well. He was frustrated. And yeah, it's like anything else, when you're used to being the god of music and everybody is waiting on you hand and foot and you get everything you need and then all of a sudden you're a normal musician again. It's
Oh, yeah, it's really humbling. I can imagine for somebody, especially like him, who's
right.
considered one of the top 50 rock singers of all time,
Oh yeah. No, it was difficult for him and he really wanted to quit, but we
Encourage
the
them.
record and it gave him a little bit of hope and he kept going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He might not, be able to hit those notes like he used to, but I admire him. That
Still
he,
got the voice.
yeah, you can still tell it's Lou. I admire him for just pushing through it and being determined like that, at his age especially. I mean, I hope that I'm that, ambitious and determined when I get that age, and it's really inspiring to me and it should be to other people as well.
It is. It's unfortunately everybody's used to YouTube and The Voice and
Yeah.
this. They all they see is the perfection. They don't see, artists at work and what they really do and how.
Yeah. The everything behind it. Again, everything's handed to them on a silver platter. And, you know, um, I think that they are lacking, direction really, and a true understanding of, the music. And
It's true. Yeah. So you still remember the days of when music was created properly?
yeah, yeah,
When you'd have like a
yeah,
group of 4 or 5 people in a room with another
recording.
yeah, another
Now everything's over processed. You got auto tune and stuff like that. Where you have AI in music. Where that's another topic I wanted to get into because there's a fine line there. I know that you have to adapt. Like when our parents were listening to our music, they had their opinion, like, "Oh, that's garbage," and
yeah.
so I'm trying to be open minded about it, but at the same time, it's like, how lazy can you get?
Wow. No, and you're taking the life out of the music and the character. That's why rock has been kind of almost swept to the side. Basically, we're all us musicians that are doing original music.
Yeah,
If we're not in a band and we're doing it like we used to do it when it was the great music that
yeah,
people listen to and go, "Wow, that's amazing. How did they do that?"
right.
It was more humanity and interaction between the musicians rehearsing, writing, creating, experimenting. Now, all we're doing is, my our producer for, Lips Turn Blue gave me the quote from Bob Clearmountain. He said, "Basically, we're all playing to see how good we can make the click sound."
Yeah, yeah, it's getting to that point. I went to Musicians Institute for music production, and we got into the digital aspect of recording, and that was the I was so disinterested in that, like, um, I'm old school too, but well, you're sitting there, you're like programming in drums, and you can make it perfect. You got auto tune, you have all these different plugins, and you can
Yeah.
play, you can play like shit. And uh, where back in the day with guys like yourself, you sometimes would record live, a live take, and what was there, and it was sometimes fucking great, most of
Right.
the
And it wasn't perfect. That was the
like
key.
that's having the humanity in the music itself,
Yeah.
and adding life to it and letting it breathe. And now it's so over processed, like, so again, I graduated from Musicians Institute for music production, but I'm just not passionate about it, because shit is so over processed. Unless I'm doing it for myself, you know you know I
It's
don't care.
basically suck the life out of what we do. That's why kids like coming up now,
Yeah.
they don't have that kind of passion. They're becoming technical and learning how to do it and saying, "Oh, I can be perfect too." And but they don't really interact with other musicians and come up with any kind of sound or fingerprint. And
Anything, yeah, anything original or unique. You have some amazing kids out there that can play,
oh yeah, by far.
and you know, but at the same time, I've seen it all before. It's like it's nothing impressive to me. So what, they're doing shit at two hands. I've seen that for, forever. Like that, my friend played the Chapman stick. You know, so what? It's been done before. Yeah, and I'm not going to name any names because
Oh, and most people aren't really impressed by all that except for us musicians.
true. Yeah, yeah, and it's absolutely about the music itself, and I feel like music has totally lost its direction. The last great genre and era was probably grunge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then after that, well, the 2000s, early 2000s, I kind of liked. I think it was going in a good direction with industrial, metal and stuff like that. But as soon as like, internet really, really took off, it just, like you said, rock and all that kind of style of music, I just swept to the side. I'm sorry if I'm talking a lot, but
No, no, I'm excited to hear you have all these opinions. Being as young as you are, I figured you really wouldn't have that kind of
yeah.
opinion on music.
Well, I've been, involved in music since I was a little kid, and
That's why you know.
yeah, I've followed, guys like yourself, that have, inspired my attitude. And that's another thing about this book that I'm writing is, the attitude, as mentioned, behind, your approach to music and what makes you you, and makes you unique, makes you original, having your own voice as an artist, and things of that nature. And that's what I really, really want to get involved into with this project or book, because a lot of these guys, they're getting older, and as they're
And we're losing them.
yeah, we're losing them. Sadly, we just I don't know if you follow, but the guy from Firehouse just passed on,
Yes.
and
I
that's
used to
sad. The guy was 64 years old. I mean, and he was a great singer. No auto tune there. Um,
no.
or
No.
somebody like Rob Elford. No auto tune there. And and these guys are getting, ready to pass the torch, and it's like, what are the, what's next? These fucking clones, or kids that sit in their bedroom and they can only play guitar sitting down, because that's all they ever did, or
Yeah.
that's all they know.
And they're amazing, but they don't know how to interact with other musicians. I mean, I've gotten more gigs that before guys that are like way better than me as far as shredding and speed and accuracy and perfection, just because I can I can look at another musician and play with them.
Yeah. I kind of the chemistry. You have
Right.
the chemistry there because you have that experience. There it is, the
Huh?
experience. You know?
Yeah, kids really need to do that, and some of them are. I notice that some kids are. They're paying attention to people like you and me that tell them, when they say, "What do I gotta do to get better?" It's like, create your own style, work with other musicians and feed off of what they have and develop. It's
Yeah, get out and play. Get out there,
like
play.
learning how to drive. You can't do it by sitting in front of a machine.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I agree with you. There's benefits of that, but there's
Yep.
like with everything, there's a balance. You have to
Yeah.
find a balance for that. For example, between technical proficiency and creativity, or between music theory and creativity. Music
Right.
theory is only a guide. It's not the you know
Right, and
it's not
it's
the law.
so that you can talk with other musicians about what's going on, and if you want the information, you can grab it. Some musicians could care less. They don't wanna know note theory. They do it from here,
Yeah, absolutely. And from here,
Right.
and it's one time, for example, I tuned my guitar like completely different. It was a D5 tuning. It was like
Yeah.
DADADD, and
Yep.
so I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't rely on the patterns. I could rely on the scales. I had to use my ear, and that's why I did it mainly. And ended up creating something just that was something that I normally would never have done. And
And it was fun
yeah,
probably,
oh
wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, because it was looking at the instrument as something new again.
Right. That's right.
When you're playing guitar for 35 years, you gotta find ways to stay inspired.
That's
And
right, that's how I did it, open tunings, different guitars. I even picked up mandolin and
oh,
lap
that's
steel
awesome.
and some other things. I wanna get into banjo, but I really suck with that rolling stuff. I gotta work on that.
I heard Roy Clark was probably one of the best banjo players of all time. I don't
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about banjo other than it seems very, very complicated, you know, difficult to play with the finger picking and stuff like that. I'm sure you use like picks on each of your fingers, but I mean, that shit looks hard, you know.
Yeah, no, it's really I think it's very simplistic, but it's like playing guitar. You have to develop a technique and have a real desire to master it and work on it for, months and years until you get the technique down and then, it's an open playing field.
Yeah. And that's another thing that inspires me with guys like yourself, um, and artists is because you're always learning. It's like it's never ending, and it's healthy. It keeps you going.
Yeah.
Keeps you going.
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like shit. I talked to this guy the other day, uh, Rudy Sarzo. The guy's 73 years old. And
No.
yeah, and he's still, going on like he's, a teenager. I mean, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, he's that's why he's still doing pretty well at it too, because seems like anybody I run into in my travels that tells me, "Oh, I don't need to learn anything else. I know it all." I mean, at that point, you gotta like put it down and do something else
Yeah,
because you're not gonna be excited. You're not gonna be inspired,
yeah.
and that I don't know about you, but what I
That works, and that's what I do too. I have to take a break once in a while and do something else, find inspiration in something else, and
right, and it'll
or
bring it.
or like you're doing, learn a different instrument, and have a
Yeah.
different perspective.
or different styles of music. I've actually opened up into a couple styles that, I swore I would I'll, I'll never do that,
Like
That's like
back in the day when you were like young and you were I know how that is. Yeah, like at one time.
limited field of vision.
At one time I was like, I wouldn't admit that I liked any other bands, but I was like, I'm a Metallica fan, and it's like if it wasn't that genre or whatever, it's like I would not admit to myself that I liked it. you know,
That's
um,
right.
Keeping an open mind is great. Like even country, some of the country guitar players are definitely amazing too. That style. That
There's a lot of talent in every genre.
yeah,
It's great, because you can learn from any of it, even if you don't make yourself play like that. You'll learn a technique or something that clicks up here that makes you do something different.
like Zach Wild, he incorporates like chicken picking and stuff like that
Yeah.
into rock metal, and it's pretty awesome to do that. So, what styles were you talking about that you were exploring right now, or
I
genre?
mean, basically, country.
Mhm.
Never, I never really pictured myself, really into country all that much. And then
Yeah, rock musician.
yeah, I was doing blues rock. I was caught up into, blues rock, Aerosmith, all that kind of thing. Gary Moore, Thin Lizzy. I loved that was my thing. I didn't want to really go too far out of that genre, and I ended up
So,
yeah, and I ended up meeting this guy, Dave. What's his name? Can't remember his last name. He's a country artist. He's won like several Emmy awards for songs he's written, and he was in a famous band back in the, I think it was the 70s.
oh,
Oh,
you're not familiar with country?
yeah, Dave. His name is Dave Gibson, and he's a very, very affluent. I mean, he's one of like the main songwriters down in Nashville
Oh
still
wow,
that companies look for, and they go, "We need a hit."
yeah,
you know, do you
wow.
have anything? And he'll come up with it.
So
But
did
I
you?
got to work with
Oh
him
no,
on a Friends song, and it was great. I mean, I just it opened up a whole new, you know, genre to me that, oh, we can do this with country.
yeah,
I actually like a lot of this. I can hear the influences of what he was doing in people that I listen to in the other genre that were working it into that. But
that's cool.
and
That's
yeah, it opened your eyes.
Yeah, it's awesome that you continue to explore new things. That's that's the beauty of music.
Oh, you have to. I listen to a lot of classical. I never I always swore I would never play jazz because it was just used to confuse me.
Yeah, so free
I
form. You know,
yeah,
It's
yeah,
one of the hardest theories they sent to learn is jazz theory because
it
it's
is.
just so free, and I never attempted it.
No, and back in the day when there was no internet and jazz musicians were very secretive. I remember going to a jazz teacher to try to see if I could figure it out, and him telling me, "Oh, you'll never be able to learn this. It's you're a rock player, blah blah blah." And after going to college in California and working with a few open-minded jazz musicians that said, "Oh no, it's pretty simple. I can show you what it is." And because of what, no internet, you're basically looking to neighbors, other
Oh,
musicians, and they're
yeah,
not open to showing you or telling you what's going on, then you don't get it. But
right.
yeah, I play in a Billy Joel tribute now. I never would have expected I would ever do anything like that. And I'm having fun doing it
Yeah,
because
sure. I'm
I've
sure.
learned 17 new chords that I would have never known about before, and I love chords. I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not really a soloist. I mean, people say, "Oh, you're such a great lead guitar player." It's like I have a style that you can identify with, but I'm not, the most amazing soloist
Right.
in the world.
Like an
I
Ingrid
like
Malmsteen or something.
I
Yeah.
like being a rhythm player.
Yeah, that's important too. That's one of my faults. Is because when I started playing guitar, it's like I just wanted to rip, you know. So yeah,
Everybody does.
yeah. I just unfortunately I spent all my time learning how to solo, and the rhythm aspect of it got like lost in it. And as I've grown as a musician, I've learned to really appreciate rhythm guitar players a lot more, you know.
Well, yeah, and you can do it. You can get better at it. I'm still not as good as I'd like to be at playing rhythm, but I've gotten a lot better, especially since lately now I'm doing since bands are kind of a niche thing, I'm in 4 tributes to try to, make a half a living here.
Yeah.
I do a lot of acoustic stuff, and I've forced myself to start singing and playing acoustic and doing solo or duo shows, and with that, you're hanging in the wind. You better have some decent rhythm
Chops,
chops to
yeah,
carry.
definitely. Like, so you're in Rochester. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you stick pretty much in that general area for playing in
I
clubs?
try I try to. It's pretty much like the Northeast. I mean, I'll go out to Massachusetts, Vermont, Pennsylvania, Ohio, kind of
Yeah,
central.
the whole
I,
East Coast, kind of Northeast Coast. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
and I would, yeah, I wouldn't mind going down further south, maybe to, because everybody keeps telling me, oh, you could get rich, go to Florida, you're a star, you can play there every night of the week. It's like, I don't want to play every night of the week. I want to be in a recording studio every day and play a couple nights a week if I can.
so are you working with any artists right now as far as recording anything or writing?
Um, I just finished a project with a girl, Lisa G or Lisa G. She's from Chicago, and I was working with Carmine Appice producing and playing drums, and um, the bass player from Megadeth. What's his name? James Lomenzo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. He's playing for Megadeth now? Wow.
Yep.
He's
Yeah, I
played
just
for
finished.
White Lion, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's been in a few. He went out with John Fogerty. He's a very versatile dude.
Yeah. Uh, unlike Dave Ellis, and I think there was a whole freaking thing that went on about him, unfortunately. But yeah, I saw Megadeth and they were great. You know,
Oh, man.
I saw him with Motorhead. I was like so shocked because, like, when I was growing up
Mhm.
watching MTV and you see Lemmy, with the
Oh, yeah.
big
He
red
was perfect.
cover. Yeah, like who the hell is this guy? He's some speeds, And when I saw them live, I'm like, holy shit, these guys are good, They were tight and just put on a hell of a show. Some bands that, in my experience, have some of them they're better to watch live,
Oh, yeah, there's a chemistry.
Yeah, like same thing with David Bowie. My friends, begged me to go to watch David Bowie. Like fuck David Bowie, and singing Stardust and all that other shit. And I saw him in '92, I think it was, and Adrian Belew was playing guitar for him during that tour. And oh man, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Uh,
But
the experience from somebody that's just so professional and has been around the block and things of that nature. And you know, um, that's the kind of musician that I aspire to be. You know, and
yep.
again, that's what's lacking in the music. Right now, it's I just feel like that's lacking, and in my opinion, it's just an opinion.
It's a good one.
Like it's not like I really done the technical research or whatever, but it's kind of biased. I guess I'm biased a little bit because I don't see another rock star, happening anytime soon. When are you gonna have another Jim Morrison or another Jimi Hendrix or another, uh,
No.
blah 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 blah. And it's like it's just totally lost. And another thing that it bothers me is that people, of course, have YouTube and all these outlets to share their music now. So you pretty much got to sift through all the garbage, you know? And
And
that's where,
there's a lot of it. You
yeah,
get lost in the noise. It could be the next Jimi Hendrix and with a real band, all the same elements, and it'll get lost in the noise because there was 1,700 singles put out that day.
yeah, yeah. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. And I think I just broke my chair. But yeah, uh, it could be the greatest band, and you're gonna overlook it because you got to sift through all the fucking garbage.
Right.
Everybody's trying to be famous. Everybody. It's like it's not about the talent anymore. It's not about the ability. It's about like they're focused on how am I going to get famous, and and then you got all this fucking garbage. That's ruining the music industry. That's
Oh,
my, it's like the genres are lost now. There isn't any one particular genre. Forgive me if you know, um, if I'm being ignorant, but now I was, looking at your profile and I saw something about Black Sheep. Now, were you an original member of that band, or how did you get
so
involved with Lou?
technically I wasn't. I was an original member of the band after we got signed as a first American act to Chrysalis Records.
Okay,
We did a single that was when they were thinking of coming over to the US and they were under A&M at the time. And we did one single and they decided not to move Chrysalis any headquarters over here and they stayed in England. So we went with Capitol Records after that and we had a 3 album deal. We only finished two before we crashed the truck for the second time and had to break up. But
did you guys get held to that third album? No? Did they
what's
sue?
that?
Did you guys get sued for the third album?
No, no, it was pretty much amicable because we weren't selling platinum records. We were selling like 100,000, 70,000 records worldwide. So we were kind of like, let them go. We'll sign
Sure,
another.
yeah. Compared to other artists at the time. Now, if you sell 100,000 records, they're like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, it's that amazes me. But yeah, I was taken into the band after they actually when they started, Lou was on drums.
Wow,
And
I never knew
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
he was really good. He was a really good drummer, and kind of had to leave it in the dust when he made it big time as a singer. But his brother Richard Gramm and
Oh,
and I think Bruce Turgan was he was the one that recruited me when Richard left. Richard was more into the prog end of things. He wanted to do more like Yes stuff, and
oh, yeah.
and Louis and Bruce, who are the main writers in that. I only wrote a few songs per album.
Nice.
They wanted to stay with the blues with like more of a free traffic, R&B type style. So
That's
he
awesome.
yeah, he left the band. I came in and what was it? They ripped me right out of high school. uh
Lucky. That's
yeah, no, I was
great, transition. I mean,
yeah,
some people are trying to get to that level their whole entire lives, like me.
one I had no clue. And we were doing the bars and clubs and sleeping in disgusting places for like a year or two after I got in the band until we got signed and put on the road with like Kiss and 10 Years After and Hall and Oates and all those people. But yeah, we paid our dues.
Cool. So you guys put out two albums. Like what year was this approximately?
75, 76.
Okay. And now, when did Lou transition from Black Sheep to what Florida with Nick?
He was actually being approached by Mick to join. They weren't named Fauna at the time while he was in Black Sheep on our last tour. And at that point, Lou was like kind of like, well, I'm in the band. I want to make it right now, and I'm understanding a little more about what it takes to get ahead. So unless you can come up with some kind of backing to get the music out to the right people and make it happen, he didn't want to do it. So he stayed with the band until 76. Uh, from 76 77, it was like, for me, it was transitioning from riding in limousines to shows to riding on the back of a garbage truck going, I think I got to go back to school. I can't do this for the rest of my life. I want to do music, but I don't want to do this to make money
Right, that's cool.
when the music isn't making the money. So he went on like welfare for a few months, got a job at an appliance delivery parts place for about another year. And Mick kept calling him and saying, you got to come, you got to come. This is going to be big. And, he knew it could be something. But at that point, you couldn't get on the internet and check out people's net worth and find out if there was money behind it.
Right. Yeah.
And it was weird because he wouldn't even go unless he wouldn't go for the audition, which was, it's only 7-hour drive away, for like a year. I think he took a year, and Mick finally told him, look, if you're not going to fly in and do this, we're going to move on here. And he I think at that time when Mick called him, the drummer from Black Sheep, the second drummer from the second album, who I'm doing a reunion with this month. We're
Nice.
doing a mini Black Sheep reunion with the keyboard player, him and I.
Nice.
Lou was supposed to do it, but he got called away because he's nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finally.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, they had some issues there with one of the board members. Something happened in the past, and they weren't allowed to even be thinking about that. But he had been coming. He was coming over to his house to deliver like food from his farm because Lou wasn't making a ton of money. He's living in an apartment with his wife, and he mentioned, I think he mentioned to Mike that, Mick was on the last leg and he wasn't going to go for the audition. Mike looked at him and said, are you serious? After all you've had invested in this, you're going to pass on that for what? A $200 well, which was expensive in those days for a $200 plane ticket. So Mike gave him the money and sent him to New York and said, you better go.
So was Mike I'm sorry, I got lost on who Mike is.
Mike Bonafide was the second drummer on the second album, Encouraging Words, and they were still friends. We were all friends after it ended, and he was trying to help Lou out, and he had a farm at the time, so he was growing food and had canned goods and all this stuff. So to help whoever needed it in the band out, he'd be delivering.
That's awesome. If he didn't do that for him, that he would have never. He wouldn't even know who he was. At least I wouldn't. I mean, I was.
Right. No, Black Sheep. No one would know who Black Sheep is except for maybe like 20, 30,000 people scattered all over the world.
Yeah. So your creative process. I mean, do you have any particular like rituals that you like to follow, or any particular approach that you do, like meditative or spirituality or anything like
Yeah,
that?
no, it's
Sure.
pretty much what it's always been. I can sit here and come up with a drum groove. Technology. You can make a little drum groove and have something to jam with, except for a click track going back and forth. And if I come up with an idea I like, I usually take it and bring it to a group of musicians and say, let's jam on this. I want to see if it's worth pursuing. And at that point, I know whether it's something that might happen or not, and it either goes in the bit bucket or it comes out as a new tune with one band or another.
So that's kind of your creative process or whatever. That's cool. Do you have any advice for any aspiring musicians or do that?
Yeah, I would say, you can't expect to get everything you want from technology. You got to work with other people and develop your style and sound with that, and then use technology
enhance.
to
Yeah,
to change.
yeah. Again, I feel like there's a balance, there because you know, you, I was talking to Jordan Rudess, on Dream Theater. They're a very
Yeah,
technical band, and I have a very negative opinion about AI. And what he said was pretty cool is to to embrace it. And instead of being totally negative toward it, and to embrace it and incorporate it. But at the same time, rely on it completely. I mean, you got to be asked, are people today that are taking songs and uploading it to AI? I was told, like an AC/DC song, and then it will totally change the song, and you can call it your own. So stuff like that, is
see, I don't even, you know more about it than I do. I don't even want to know about it. I mean, I'm already, seeing actors and different famous people suing people for using their images with their ideas, and it doesn't seem right. It kind of takes away the fun.
well, I've only actually been learning about this more so from some of the people that have been
Sure.
interviewed,
Really.
and it's uh it's just, in my opinion, it's just being fucking lazy, you know, being lazy, absolutely no talent involved, no
Yes.
creativity involved, and it's too easy to rely on.
Yeah, you're basically programming music. I mean, it's I get enough of that kind of feeling off of what we do at the digital realm. I mean, because you're right, we have to embrace a certain part of it at one point or another, just to you know,
Adapt and to be able to stay with the with moving along, as opposed to being like our parents and being like, oh, that's garbage, and it's
yeah,
like
right.
trying to keep it open mind because it's happening whether we like it or not. So it's they got to come up with some rules and some guidelines for it. Though. Anyway, we can after a while we could wrap this up. But I want to thank you sincerely, Don.
No, it was interesting. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love talking to artists like yourself that have the experience and have been around the block and are at that level to where you know you have that wisdom and I think it's important. It's crucial to be able to share that with other people before it's gone.
Oh yeah, big time. And a lot of the wisdom I get is from people like you and other musicians that I surround myself with
Yeah,
because
you have
they're
to. It's like a fellowship,
exactly.
it's a community and your reflection on those that you surround yourself with. So I always make the attempt to surround myself with people that can inspire me and that I can inspire and that are actually professional and that are at a level that I can actually feel where we're on the same page. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
you deal with a lot of people like on a local level, and a lot of them are half-assed, or they can't play worth shit, and it's hard sometimes to find those type of people, and although they're out there, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you find them.
Yeah, you have to network, and that's what I do. I network with professionals that I feel that I can be inspired by and people that I can relate to because I believe I'm at that level myself.
Yes.
and
Oh, yeah.
professional. And so I have to be speaking with people on that level to actually be interested, you know? And
Huh?
I know
Yeah.
that's kind of maybe egocentric, or maybe I'm being a douchebag because I'm so selective on who I play with. But uh,
Yeah. It's not that. It's just it's your preference, you know. And in this country, they're trying to take our preferences away one at a time and make us believe that there's really only one way to do things. It's like, no, that's not true.
anyway, it's been a pleasure, man. And
Yeah, definitely. We should keep in touch here somehow.
absolutely.